Hello, and welcome to Youth Focused Oakland's Future. I'm Alicia Eskridge, and I attend Met West High School.
And I'm Eric Ortega, a student at Skyline High School, where you graduated from.
Yes.
Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf is our special guest here on Youth Focus. Thank you for coming to answer our questions.
We want to give our students a shout out too. We are with Skyline High School's Green Academy and Met West High School. Today, our questions focus on the city's plan for downtown Oakland and how young people of Oakland and our ideas fit into the plan.
Great.
All of us are a part of a classroom project working with White Plan at UC Berkeley. We collaborate with other schools, youth groups, and city planners from City Hall. We'll have an Oakland native, Gary Franco, tell you more.
Hi, my name is Jerry Franco, and I'm from Oakland. In fact, I'm from the Fruit Hill District, so this city means a lot to me. Currently, I'm at UC Berkeley, and I'm majoring in Urban Studies and Sustainable Design. I also have a connection to some of the panelists here on Youth Focus because I mentor 10th grade students in Skyline High's Green Academy. Actually, more than 120 students from Skyline and Met West High Schools are researching and coming up with proposals for the Downtown Oakland Specific Plan. City planners have turned to them with these questions. How can we make downtown Oakland a more equitable place for all to access and enjoy now and in the future? And what does it mean to create a resilient, sustainable, and equitable downtown? To help the students answer the question, they've teamed with the Y Plan Oakland project. Y Plan stands for Youth, Plan, Learn, Act, Now. This program gives the students the tools and the power to tackle real-world problems in their communities. The students learn firsthand and on the ground, like on this walk through downtown Oakland. The teens can see for themselves ideas at work, a green roof, bike lanes, affordable housing. What a great way to spark the mind and imagination. Time for you to get your thinking cap on here, Schaaf, because these students have a lot of questions to ask.
Now that you know a little more about what we're studying, I'd like to get us started with the first question. As teenagers, we need places to go and things to do that don't cost money. Yet, from what we see, new businesses in downtown are expensive. We want Oakland to be a green and sustainable city that's affordable. How can downtown include places for us to go that we can afford?
Well, we are looking to take back public spaces and create interesting community gathering spots that are free. One of the things that Oakland has done that's really cool, and I think we're going to see more of them in our downtown, are parklets. And parklets do two things. One, it reminds people that streets are not just for cars. So we've taken what used to be metered parking spaces and allowed folks to build out a little parklet. And you should know that those are open to the public. They do not belong to the business that's close to them. Anybody can hang out, sit there, enjoy the Oakland sunshine, connect with friends, play a game of chess, get on your Snapchat and do what you feel like doing. And that is part of kind of retaking some of the public space and figuring out better ways to use it. Instead of for cars parking there all day, let's have people interacting and enjoying the public space.
Thank you.
Our next question for you comes from Josie.
Hi, my name is Josie Lasalde. I go to Met West High School. For the most part, we don't drive, and we want more affordable ways to get around Oakland, like riding bikes and skateboards. Can we be a part of the bike share program? But we can't use it until we're 18. So what's your plan to make transportation more accessible and safe for us?
Well, the issue of safety for people who are walking, who are riding bikes, who are using other forms of transportation that are not cars is something that Oakland cares a lot about. A couple years ago, we adopted something called the Complete Streets Policy. And again, it's this idea that our roads are not just for cars and that we've got to do a lot more in our city to make it easy, healthy, and safe to walk, bike, skateboard, different ways of getting around. People in wheelchairs, people with baby strollers also need safe ways to get around the city. So just having more bike lanes and having safer, more pleasant, well-lit, interesting places to walk around the city also encourages walking. Now, it is true that bike share, to be a member, you'll have to be 18 to give a credit card to have like the automatic access. But bike shares can be checked out by students as young as 16 under the existing partnership. The idea of creating a bike share program that could be accessible to even younger students is a good one, and I look forward to working with you on figuring that one out.
Thank you. Now our next question comes from my co-host.
I'm in the Green Academy at Skyline, and we're learning about the urban heat island effect. We know that as temperatures rise over the coming years, park will be an important part of the city to keep the temperatures down. How many more parks will be added to the downtown area, and will they have playgrounds for kids, and how do you plan to make parks throughout Oakland safer and cleaner?
Well, I'm excited that there's a Green Academy in Oakland. I hope you know that your city actually got to participate in the historic Paris Climate Summit this year, COP21, where for the first time all 195 countries signed on to agreements to try and reverse global warming and save the planet and control climate change. So obviously Oakland is really committed to that, since we were one of the cities identified as a leader in local action around climate change. And obviously greening our cities is a real important part of that. And it's not just creating parks and playgrounds, but even street trees. Just having green and dirt in the urban atmosphere, that is critical. In Oakland, we're so lucky to have forests in our hills and that great lake and 20 miles of waterfront. Not every city has such great natural amenities, but not every neighborhood has great greenery. And so we've got to make sure that everybody lives within a 10-minute walk of a safe, great park. And that's something that we do through our planning process.
Thank you, Mayor Schaaf. Now we go to Dean.
My name is Dean and I go to Skyline High School. For this project, we are proposing that City Hall use fuel cell technology for its energy needs. How will Oakland be sure that the green jobs created from projects such as this go to local people who need them?
The idea of preparing Oakland students to be the beneficiaries of companies that are moving into Oakland is a huge priority for me. I don't know if you've heard this term tequity. It's this idea that, these modern sectors like the tech sector, and certainly clean and green energy is a real growing sector in Oakland, that they make a real effort to diversify their workforces, diversify their leadership. They should reflect the diversity of a city like Oakland and really create an opportunity pipeline for students in Oakland to get those great jobs. And so we're working very closely with the school district in the Linked Learning Initiative. And that is to really integrate these career options into your learning. It makes school a lot more interesting, doesn't it? To think that what you're learning actually applies to some really cool job out there. We also are partnering with the district around summer jobs. Last year, the mayor's office funded 1,800 summer jobs for Oakland youth, as well as the Oakland Promise. And that is like my most passionate initiative. The Oakland Promise is this idea that we should triple the number of Oakland students who actually graduate from college ready to pursue the career of their dreams. Because these new jobs, a lot of them require some sort of post-secondary achievement, whether it's a 2-year degree or a certificate or an apprenticeship or a 4-year degree. And so I'm trying to make it easier for Oakland students to get those degrees.
Thank you, Mayor Schaaf. Now with another question related to sustainability. Here's Neftali.
My name is Neftali Rivera and I go to Skyline High School. Recently, representatives from all our classes doing the Y Plan presented recommendations on the downtown plan at a youth summit. We are using our knowledge about sustainability to make suggestions like parklets and permeable pavers. What are the limitations we should consider as we prepare our final recommendations? We plan to present those ideas to you and to the others in the planning department.
Well, I know that there was a great summit that happened in early March, and people are still talking about it. In fact, you should know my planning director said one of her favorite things that came out of that was the idea of having basketball hoops above the garbage cans. Who came up with that one? That was a really good one. To make it both more fun to actually put your trash in the garbage and to draw attention to the need to be clean and to create a sense of play in downtown. That is a great idea that I don't think an adult would have come up with. So that's just like a little example. The idea of permeable pavers is a great one, and that's really important to continue our commitment to sustainability and to reducing climate change. And so the idea, I guess the only thing I would say as far as limitations is to know that an area-specific plan is a vision for the future. And so don't expect your ideas to actually get implemented overnight, but by putting them in the area-specific plan, we're creating an incentive for when people do come to make changes, to buy new property or build something new or develop a new use in the downtown. They now have an incentive to do the thing that you wanted them to do. So know that your ideas will get implemented eventually, but it won't happen overnight. But it's so important that you contributed to this plan because it really is a long-term plan, and you're going to be the beneficiaries of this downtown of the future.
We're going with Javier for another question.
So, hello, my name is Javier Mejia Cuenca, and I currently go to this school called Midwest. And the question I have for you is that I currently live in East Oakland, and in Oakland, do you notice that Oakland has faced a lot of neglect and has a lack of support? But it seems like the city's paying more attention to downtown. So how can you address the needs of people who live in Oakland in general to make sure that we don't get pushed out?
Well, the downtown specific plan is the 5th specific plan that we've done recently. And one of the really important specific plans that we did was around the Coliseum area in East Oakland. We also are really excited about a bus rapid transit project that's going to really connect East Oakland with downtown by creating a much better bus route that runs along International Boulevard. And so we absolutely believe that it's really critical that the government intervene in ways that lifts up neighborhoods that have been left behind, that haven't seen the same level of private investment. And that's definitely true about East Oakland. But we are hoping that just like we're working on an area-specific plan for the downtown right now, the one that we adopted around the Coliseum is going to result in some positive changes for the East Oakland neighborhood. And it's also an example of why looking at transportation is really important too. I know that part of this advocacy that you all have created has led to providing students with bus passes to make it easier for you to get around the city, to make it easier for you to potentially get to job centers like downtown Oakland. And so the idea of the area-specific plan is to try and incentivize investment that's not government investment, because government does not have enough money to do all the building, do all the improvements that we would like to do. I will say that we are working on something called an infrastructure bond that probably, if any of you are 18, but your friends, your parents will probably get to vote on this November. And that's going to be asking Oaklanders to potentially help us fund improvements to the streets, to the sidewalks, street trees, making some improvements in your local parks and libraries. And we're looking at ways to make those investments more in parts of the city like East Oakland that haven't seen as much private investment as parts like downtown.
Thank you, Mayor. A lot of us students really worry about gentrification, and Anicia has a question about it.
Hi, my name is Anicia. I attend at West High. Oakland is gentrifying and people are getting pushed out. How can we know that if places like downtown Oakland become better, that the improvements will help us too? How can you ensure that our families will still be able to afford living in Oakland?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anyone anticipated the speed at which Oakland is gentrifying right now. This is an issue that I work on every day. And on one hand, I think as Oaklanders, we're proud that people are discovering what a great place Oakland is to live, but they're moving here so quickly and without enough housing that it's causing huge displacement pressures. And so we have to do two things. One, we have to protect families where they live right now. We have to protect them from evictions, from huge rent increases, and also from being subjected to unhealthy living conditions, being overcrowded, or having their landlords not fix their homes properly. So we're looking to strengthen the laws that protect renters. We're looking to improve services and education and support for our renters. And then we're also looking for creative ways to bring government protections, which really requires that people of certain incomes are allowed to live in housing that's affordable to them, but to bring that type of protection to people where they're living right now. In addition to that, we have to build more housing. We cannot build a wall around Oakland. We cannot prevent new people from moving into our city, and we shouldn't. That's not the kind of city we are. We are a welcoming, inclusive city. But if we don't build new housing for these new residents to move into, they will push out the longtime residents. So we've got to build and we've got to protect. And I just came out with a plan that I worked on with 110 community stakeholders and housing experts that we believe over 18 years will allow us to protect 17,000 Oakland families from displacement from their existing homes, as well as create 17,000 more units of housing. Some of that will be housing that's reserved for very low or low income residents that will be affordable for them, but some will be for people of other incomes. And some of it will even be through things like, does anybody live in a house that has a secondary unit where you can add a rental unit onto your house? We just changed the law this year to make it easier for people who do own homes to add rental units to their homes, both to create more rental housing and then to create some income to help the homeowner. It's a win-win.
Thank you, Mayor Schaaf. Here's another question by Javier.
Yeah, so I'm going to be performing a poem. So. Gentrification has caught your attention. Now pay attention to what's heading your direction. No misconception is not just a perception. Need verification for our identification? Is this another excuse to kick us out of our nation? What a displacement for our races. Where do we go where a place called home leaves us on the road to decompose? Will we arise before we meet our demise? So I stand here tonight to demand the use of public land. I have a question for you. And the question is that there are a lot of small businesses and non-profit organizations who are finding it more and more difficult to keep their business running due to the process of gentrification. So what is the city of Oakland going to do about this situation?
Yeah, no, that is another part of the threat of displacement. It's not just on residents, it's also on our Oakland-grown neighborhood businesses and businesses that have been here a long time, nonprofits, particularly our artists and our arts organizations. I talk a lot about the secret sauce of Oakland, and I always talk about our inclusive diversity and our creative energy. That is what makes this city so special. And I think we look across the bay at San Francisco and see that it's a different city. It really just got like bulldozed by gentrification, and we cannot let that happen to Oakland. Just like you, I'm born and raised in this city. I love this city, and I cannot stand the idea of the culture of this city, the rich, vibrant culture of this city being pushed out. So I am trying everything I can within my legal constraints. So for example, rent control for residents. You know that we can legally only put rent control on 60% of the rental housing in Oakland. That's just a little bit more than half. The rest of it, we can't because of state law. State law won't allow cities to put under rent control single-family homes, condos, or any building built after 1983. That's the year I graduated from Skyline High School. But when it comes to our small businesses, we can't even use the tool of rent control. And so what Oakland is trying to do is work with philanthropies to buy some spaces that we can preserve for nonprofits as well as cultural institutions. We're also working to give access to capital for our small businesses. We just entered this really innovative partnership just a few weeks ago with a nonprofit organization called Kiva Zip. And these are crowdsourced zero-interest loans for people that would never traditionally qualify for a bank loan because the business hasn't been around that long, or they don't have collateral, they don't have a good credit score, they can't prove they have cash flow, but we know that they have character. And because of that, we as a community can pool our resources to help small businesses grow and thrive. And these are the kind of small businesses that also tend to employ local people or people that don't always have as easy a time getting jobs. People that, for example, are re-entering society from prison that really need a second chance and an opportunity to reestablish themselves. And so this partnership with Kiva Zip, we believe will provide kind of access to capital for at least 600 entrepreneurs over the next 2 years. And then we also are working with Youth Impact Hub to create what we're calling an Oakland Emerging 100. And that's a commitment to also help fund 100 youth entrepreneurs every year here in Oakland, because young people have great business ideas too, and that's part of also really preserving the character of this city by investing in our youth and investing in our small businesses.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to ask you another question. You talked about helping families stay in their homes in Oakland, but we also care about what happens to the homeless. Why are there still so many homeless people? What's the plan to create shelters for homeless people, and will that be a part of the future development of downtown Oakland?
We are trying to look at some much more innovative ways to address homelessness. At the end of last year, I actually asked the City Council, and they unanimously approved it, to declare a state of emergency around shelter and housing in Oakland. That allows us to relax some of our building codes, to quickly put up new shelters. But the homeless problem is not just a problem about shelter. It's also a problem about other services like mental health or addiction. These are health issues that also need to be addressed. Often it's not just a structure that someone needs, they need other support. We've been really successful with the Henry Robinson House of getting people that have significant issues off the street, and by allowing them to come into housing without a lot of conditions, which is the traditional transitional housing model, we've really been able to help these people where they are and get them into a place where they can get into permanent housing. I literally just spent my day today with the United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Secretary Julian Castro, advocating for more funding for this really innovative center, the Henry Robinson House, that is in downtown Oakland, as well as looking at ways that we can do things like tiny homes. We've been talking to Laney College about using community college students that are studying carpentry to build tiny homes and allow more people to have access to really functional shelter that is small but works. So these are some of the creative ideas that we're trying to come up with, because it's not humane to allow members of our family, and when I say our family, I mean people who live in Oakland, to live on the streets.
Thank you, Mary Schaaf. The next question for you is from Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. Oakland is changing, and we want to make sure we benefit from those changes too. Big companies like Uber could be a threat to us if they don't hire people from Oakland. What are you doing to see that we get internships and help to prepare for all these new jobs coming from to where we live and go to school?
So the interesting story about Uber is they bought a piece of property, they paid market rate for it, and they did not ask for any tax breaks, any incentives. They didn't ask the government for anything. And so I can't make them do anything. But what I did do when they announced that they were moving here, I sent them a letter, which actually got kind of publicized, about what my expectations and hopes were for how they were going to be a good member of this community. And I talked to them in this letter about striving for equity, having a diverse workforce, providing internships and support and partnerships with schools so that local young people could get work opportunities at a company like Uber. Also, I talked to them about fighting displacement, helping us provide retail spaces for local businesses, and using local businesses to provide their products and services that they need as a company. I have one positive story to tell about that. We introduced them to a great company here in Oakland called Red Bay Coffee. Red Bay Coffee is owned by an African American man. It is a workers' collective so that the profits are actually shared by the workers. And Keba, who's the owner of the company, hires almost exclusively formerly incarcerated folks. So again, people that traditionally have barriers to employment. We introduced Red Bay Coffee to Uber, and so this is an example of a great local company that has also a social mission, and it would be great if, you might buy their coffee, because if there's one thing that software engineers need, it's coffee. And Red Bay Coffee is some of the best coffee you could ever drink. Hopefully you all are not drinking a lot of coffee because you're still in high school, so you have a couple years before you acquire that bad habit. Not only did Uber decide to use Red Bay Coffee in Oakland, they liked it so much that they actually entered into a contract with them to use their coffee in all 4 of their San Francisco buildings. That's going to create 10 to 20 more jobs at Red Bay Coffee. And that's a great win-win. It's a sustainable win because it's not just a charitable gift. It's something they need, and it's helping the Oakland community too. So that's the type of partnerships that we're trying to encourage in companies. We're also working with the KPORs, the KPOR Center for Social Impact, and we're really working on something called the Tequity Pledge. We're really looking at kind of a set of expectations, kind of like what we did with Uber, and get more and more companies to sign on to commitments around hiring young people from Oakland Public Schools for summer jobs, providing paid internships, contributing to organizations like Black Girls Code or Hack the Hood, all these great organizations that do hackathons and also help get young people tech skills. So that's some of the things that we're working on to make sure that students like you get to be the beneficiaries of the new companies that are moving to Oakland.
Thank you, Mayor Schaaf. Our next question comes from Soleil.
Hi, I'm Soleil and I attend Met West High School. So my question was, how do we know that if we work to improve downtown and it gets better, that there will still be like a place for us, and like, because we don't want to get kicked out?
Well, there's 2 parts of get kicked out, right? You're talking about downtown should be the living room for the whole city, right? Everyone from every neighborhood should feel like downtown is a place that they can come live, work, and play. And so to the extent that there are good free places to hang out, I think Lake Merritt has kind of been like the living room also to date, but that there's easy ways to bike and walk to downtown, that there's safe places to hang out, and that you also feel welcome. So I think that good urban design is part of creating those welcoming community spaces. But a lot of what I talked about as far as work opportunities is also really important. Again, we have to set a very clear expectation of companies that are already in Oakland and that are coming to Oakland, that we expect them to provide opportunities for Oakland youth. And then finally, as we build in downtown Oakland, and it's valuable real estate because it's so close to BART, and so it does give you great transit access to good jobs all over the region. We need to ensure that affordable housing for very low, and moderate income families is included in the housing development. One of the things that we're doing in Oakland in 2 weeks is we're going to adopt impact fees. And so that is when people are building just a market rate, project of housing, they're going to actually have to pay a fee to help develop affordable housing, or they can actually build it into their project themselves. We've already had a fee like that on office development, but this will be the first time that we're adding it to residential development too.
One more time to Elizabeth.
Neftali told you that we're preparing final ideas to present to hopefully you and the city planners. My question is, how will we know our ideas will even be considered or used by the city in the planning of downtown Oakland?
Well, this is a process. And I can tell you that if you don't present the ideas, then I can guarantee they won't be used. So the fact that you've put your ideas out there, that you have taken the time and the thought to compose them and put them together in a really compelling way. And like I said, people are already talking about a lot of the ideas that we heard at the May seminar. So I have a lot of confidence that a lot of your great ideas are absolutely going to be part of this plan. But this is also a lesson in advocacy. The community input process is going to be ongoing. Part of your advocacy is not just on your elected officials, but also on the other community groups who also have a voice in the downtown plan. And I think they are really going to want to hear and incorporate the youth voice into what they're advocating for as well. And so I'm really excited about, I haven't seen this level of youth participation in an area-specific plan before. So I think that because of your participation, the downtown plan is going to be one of our best plans to date.
Thank you, Mayor Schaaf. And another question comes from Adrian.
Hi, my name is Adrian Said Chow. I'm from Skyline High School, and my question is, Mayor, we know you graduated from Skyline. How do you feel about your school and Met West designing a new plan for the downtown district to help make Oakland a more sustainable city?
Well, I feel really proud. As a former Skyline Titan, I always feel proud when I go up to Skyline. The last time I was there, it was with someone from the White House had come out, and this gets back to the question about tech jobs. They chose Skyline High School as the place to announce a national initiative called Computer Science for All, focusing on Oakland as a place where there's so much energy about connecting young people to the jobs of the future. And so I'm so excited that Skyline and Met West, a school that I've had interns from since I think one of your very first years, Mr. Custer has my personal cell phone number from years ago. Uber Trinato was my first intern from Met West, and he's now a teacher at Lazier, which is a school he attended when he was a kid. The legacy of kind of proud Oaklanders talking about the future of this great city is something I'm really excited about. So thank you all for raising your voices and being a part of the future of your city. We need your innovative ideas.
Mayor Schaaf, that is it for our questions, at least for today. Do you have any questions for us? Any other thoughts? Especially knowing we really want reassurance that teenagers will be welcome in the downtown area, because honestly, many say that they don't feel welcome there.
I guess my question would be, how do you think we can make you feel more welcomed? And how do I, as mayor, continue to convince young people to stay in school and to strive for that dream of college? Because the new economy really does require a lot of education. And so those are my questions for you. Anyone going to answer them?
Can you rephrase the first question? I got the second part.
Okay. So my first question was, how can I make youth feel more welcome in downtown?
Well, my idea is that you can make it a little bit safer, because sometimes at night it gets kind of sketchy, it gets dangerous and what stuff, and what's it called? And you can make it more productive, make more people active there, because noticing that all the parks and downtown are really small that you really can't play any sports or anything. Like all you can do is just like relax and chill. And to answer your second question, is that from your example, you went to school and that has led you to be the mayor of Oakland. So that's really inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for spending time with us and addressing our concerns. And we look forward to seeing you again when our presentations on downtown are done. A big thanks to everyone who came together for this program: Media Enterprise Alliance at KDOL, teachers at MetWest and Skylines Green Academy, the Oakland Unified School District Civic Engagement Department, and its partner Educating for Democracy in the Digital Age.
Big thanks to White Plan at UC Berkeley and everyone who has showed up today. And thank you for all who are watching. On Youth Focus, Oakland's Future, we give power to students to ask tough questions, listen to youth. We have ideas, we have voices, we have hope.